What if the voice you keep dismissing as just your imagination is actually your spirit guide trying to help you, and you've been ignoring it for years? Well, in today's episode, you'll learn three powerful truths: how to tell the difference between your imagination and your actual spirit guide, how to hear or feel your guides more clearly, even if you think you're blocked, and why it might feel like your guides aren't answering you, and what you can do about it. So, if you've ever doubted your own intuition, felt like your guides were silent, or you wondered if you're just not spiritual enough to connect, then this episode is going to help you flip that story. Because once you learn how to recognize real guidance from your spirit team, everything changes. You gain unshakable trust in your inner voice, peace in your decisions, and a deep sense that you're never alone. But if you ignore these signs or you keep letting your ego drown them out, you risk staying stuck in doubt and disconnection, missing the guidance that's trying to lead you to the life that you've actually been asking for. Well, hey there, and welcome to Spirits Beside Us. I'm Chris Lippincott, international medium, best-selling author, and spiritual life coach. And for 20 years, I've been connecting with spirit. See, I help spiritually curious people like you raise your vibration and trust your inner guidance so that you can live with clarity, peace, and purpose. I also made a free guided meditation to help you raise your vibration, and it's called Feel Calm and Connected in Just 10 Minutes. And the link is in the description below if you're interested. So let's just dive in. You see, anybody can connect to their spirit guides. You don't have to be a trained medium or shaman to understand what they're saying. I'm proof. You see, I was an agnostic materialist working as a logical financial analyst at Wall Street. And you'd think there'd be no way a person like that could ever connect with spirit, right? We see, I was completely on the opposite side of anything remotely connect with spirit or spirituality. Yet here I am today, confidently and happily communicating with my guides and with people in spirit. So if I can do it, then so can you. You see, on Wall Street, I lived in spreadsheets, analyzing companies, tracking earnings, crunching valuations. It was logic all day, every day. There's really no room for creativity or intuition, let alone spirit. And as the stress of the job increased, so did my disconnection. I really became anxious, overwhelmed, and started taking that stress out on my family and friends. But then someone mentioned meditation for stress reduction. And I'll be honest, I thought it was for barefoot monks living up in the Himalayas. But my analyst brain kind of kicked in, and I had to research the idea. And I found a no frills guided meditation, just a calm voice and some ambient music. Definitely nothing woo woo about that. So I started listening to it for about 15 minutes each morning before I went to work. At first, it just made me feel less stressed. I was sleeping better, more patient. Life got easier. But after about a year of this daily practice, everything changed. I had a profound spiritual awakening that radically shifted how I saw the world, consciousness, and really what it means to be alive. It felt like spirit had been trying to get through me for a long time, but my head was kind of like a hardened concrete bunker. They sort of dropped a bunker buster awakening on me, right? For most people, spirit doesn't need to do that. See, if you're open to the idea, they'll gently drip their presence on you, kind of like water on a rock, until they find their way in. And if you want to accelerate the process, they'll gladly help you. But you see, the ego's job is to protect you from pain, embarrassment, the unknown. But it also blocks the very guidance you're trying to hear. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So let's start with the number one thing that people are always asking me. How do I know it's not just my imagination? And the first thing I'll tell you is that skepticism, that questioning, that is your ego mind talking. Now, don't get me wrong, skepticism and discernment are very healthy. But the ego mind's job is to protect you. It tries to shield you from anything that might hurt, might embarrass or confuse you or disappoint you. It's kind of built to keep you from repeating old wounds. So it automatically resists anything that's unfamiliar. And spirit communication, that's unfamiliar territory for most people until you learn to recognize the signs. So how can you tell if it's your imagination or your guide? Well, one of the best ways is to track the source of the thought or the message. Did it come as part of a logical sequence of thoughts? Kind of like your stream of consciousness going A, B, C, D, E. Or did it suddenly drop into your awareness out of nowhere, like A, B, C, D, Q? If you follow the train of thought, it's probably your mind. But if it came out of the blue, a completely disconnected insight that really wasn't part of your thinking, that's likely spirit. So let me give you an example from my own experience. See, one day I was sitting at my desk, just going through emails, kind of zoning out, not focused, not really deep in thought at all. My mind really wasn't on anything spiritual at all. But then suddenly, out of nowhere, I had this strong, undeniable knowing that a warm and caring spirit guide was standing right beside me. I couldn't explain it. I didn't see anything. I didn't hear anything, but I knew it. And I knew that I knew it. Ever had that feeling? It didn't come from a thought stream. It wasn't preceded by, oh, maybe I should connect with my spirit guides. It really was sort of like a drop in moment, unexpected, irrational, but completely real. And that's how spirit works. They don't follow logic, they follow resonance. So when you're trying to figure out if it's your imagination or a real message, don't ask, does this make sense? Ask instead, did this come from love? Did this come from nowhere? Did this leave me feeling a little more held, a little more guided? If so, trust it. So have you really ever had a thought drop in out of nowhere, kind and calm and powerful, that had no reason to be there? What if that wasn't you? What if it was them? Okay, so the second big question I get all the time is, all right, well, maybe I believe in spirit guides, but how can I actually hear them? How can I feel them more clearly? And the answer might surprise you, because it's not about trying harder, it's about getting quieter. You see, our ego mind is perhaps the most obnoxious, loud, and domineering aspect of our consciousness. It's always chattering, often really loud, to the point that we can't even notice that there's any silence around us. So let me ask you, how often are you truly aware of the silence that's available to you at any point in the day? Or is your ego mind always filling that void with noise and chatter? See, I actually gave my mind, my ego mind, a name. It's called the Frankie brain. Once you give your ego a name, you quickly begin to notice when it's present. And that's powerful, because when you recognize it, you can start to separate from it. You can learn to isolate it and quiet it and open yourself to the silence where spirit communicates. And that's the key. See, spirit speaks in silence. One of the best mediums of the 20th century, Gordon Higginson, said, before you can connect with the spirit without, you must first connect to the spirit within. And what he meant by that is really simple. You need to focus on the love and the energy in your own heart first. Feel that vibration. Feel the loving kindness. Feel the emotional intelligence that's already living inside you. Because once you've connected with that energy, you can begin to open yourself to the spirit without. So here's a really simple practice to try. Get yourself into a comfortable position. Maybe do a soft meditation first, or a few minutes of just slow breathing. Let your thoughts be consumed by peace and tranquility. Close your eyes if it feels comfortable. Place your hands on your heart, and then either out loud or silently in your mind say, Spirit guides of the highest love and light, I invite you to step into my energy and let me know that you're with me. And then just allow. Don't create expectations. Don't try to make anything happen. Don't even hope for something. Just follow this one simple principle. Trust and surrender. Trust that your guides are there, and surrender to when and how they choose to show themselves. And here's what I want you to really remember. When your guides do present themselves, it won't be loud or dramatic. In fact, it's going to be the opposite. Remember earlier when I asked you if you were aware of the silence in your life? This is one of those times. You might feel a slight pressure, or maybe a modest temperature change, or maybe to sense a subtle shift in the energy. You might get tiny goosebumps, maybe on your arms, like little champagne bubbles fizzling on your arms here. You might feel something like a cobweb on your face. Maybe you hear a sound or experience a sudden knowing. Just kind of drops in. Everyone's going to, sense something different. And that's because your guides are unique and different. They each have different ways of showing up. But your job isn't to figure out or force it. Your job is just to allow it in. So now if that practice resonates with you and you want to go deeper, I've got a free guided meditation that's specifically designed to help you quiet your mind and raise your vibration. And that way you can connect more clearly with spirit. and it's called Feel Calm and Connected in Just 10 Minutes. And the link to that's in the show notes and also in the description below. So, what would happen if you gave yourself 10 minutes today? No pressure, no expectation, and just invited spirit to step into your energy. Would you give it a try? Okay, so the third big question that people ask me, and maybe you've asked this yourself, is why aren't my guides answering me? Why can't I connect? And the truth is, they are answering, but sometimes we're just not able to receive it. And I want you to hear this clearly. If you don't sense anything when you try to connect with your spirit guides, it doesn't mean you can't connect. And it definitely doesn't mean that they don't love you. It just means that the conditions may not be ideal yet. Well, maybe your energy's unsettled. Maybe you're overwhelmed. Maybe there's grief or fear or frustration. Maybe it's sitting in your energy field. And all of that is clouding your reception. And remember this, in quantum physics terms, you are energy. Your whole being is vibrating at a specific oscillation rate. And that vibration changes throughout the day. Okay, let's just say you're in a really bad mood, you're upset, you're angry, you're sad. That whole state might drop your vibration rate to a really slow rate. Let's call it 5. Now let's say that 5 also represents the size of like a hole, like a 5 millimeter wide opening. And that's a tiny portal. Not much going to get through there. Okay, but now imagine a vibration of 500, a huge opening, way more energy can flow in. That is exactly how it works with your energy reception portals, AKA your chakras. Your chakras are spinning energy vortexes that open and close based on your vibration state. When they're open, energy flows freely. And when they're closed, the signal gets jammed. So if your chakras are open because you're in a higher vibrational state, more loving, more calm, more trusting, you're more easily going to feel the energy from your guides. And that might come through as a temperature shift, a sensation, a knowing, a pressure. And that's why this whole process is often described as being more open. The more open your energy, the more you can receive. So what does that look like? Starts by raising your vibration. And how do you do that? You go within. You focus on love, on loving yourself first. Remember that all you're connected to is a source of all creation, and you're always loved simply for being you. Even being just a little more kind to yourself helps you shift that energy. And when you do that, when you soften, open, allow, your guides have a space to step in because your guides want to connect. They're always trying to connect. So let them in. Open your heart and remember, trust and surrender. And I promise you, the more love you send out to yourself and to others, the more open you trust and surrender, the more deeply you're going to connect. So, what's one simple act of kindness you can offer yourself today? Not to get something, but just to raise your energy a little and open the door to spirit. All right. So, now that you understand how to recognize your spirit guides and how do you quiet your mind and even how to invite them into your energy, but you might be still wondering, how do I actually raise my vibration so that I can feel more clearly? Maybe you've been stuck in low energy or you're caught in self-doubt. Maybe you're overwhelmed by daily stress. And if you're doing all the right things, that vibration just doesn't feel high enough. Well, that's the next step. Because without a raised vibration, all the connection techniques in the world aren't going to work the way they're really meant to work. So if you want to learn how to actually raise your vibration in a simple, practical, powerful way, then go watch my next episode called Raise Your Vibration. And if you're ready to get started right now, I've got that free guided meditation called Feel Calm and Connected in Just 10 Minutes. That's going to help you calm your mind and raise your vibration quickly, even if you're new to the practice. And again, you can grab that for free. The link's in the show notes or in the description below. So I thank you and keep raising your vibration and your spiritual awareness. Love and light. This is Chris.